Welcome back to another TS Tera Plays Tera video. So in today's video, we are going to go over the 108.01 build update for Tera console. Now, just to warn you guys, there's a few things that I enjoy about this update, and a few things that I'm kind of miffed about. But we'll dive into it, and I'm going to show the patch notes on screen, so you can read along with me as I explain stuff. Feel free to pause if you want to read specific words, and again, they'll be linked in the description as always if you want to check them out yourself. So the first thing is we are getting Gossamer's Vault normal and hard mode to the game. This was a PC dungeon. I believe it was released before Bahar, and it was originally released as a level 65 and then got reworked when they did level 70 stuff. So for those that are worried, don't worry, it's not a crazy hard dungeon, and it seems like the devs are keeping it as just, this is a fun little new dungeon for us to learn. I do hope this isn't the big new dungeon being added. I hope we can expect to see Dracon's Hard coming out maybe in 4 months at a 470, because Gossamer's Vault normal is going to be a 455, where Gossamer's Vault Hard is going to be a 460. So this isn't really, in my opinion, meant to give us anything, you know, for new gear. It's nothing crazy, which I'm a little disappointed. I would have loved to seen this dungeon come out as a 470, but at the same time, as running it on PC when I did, it wasn't crazy hard. It doesn't resemble a difficulty that I feel Bahar and Cursed AA resembled. So, you know, I just hope that the devs are working on another PC dungeon that will be 470 or 474 soon, because we need that pretty bad. But I do like that they're adding a new dungeon. Hopefully this is something we can start seeing more of. Dungeon rotation is happening as well, which I think this should happen now, and I think hopefully they will continue a rotation every 3 or 4 months. Hopefully it feels like it's been 3 months since stuff been rotated, so we'll see. Let me know your thoughts about how you feel about this rotation. To start off at 470, we have Cursed AA coming back, replacing Bahar. 465, we have Ruinous Manor HM replacing Bellic Sanctuary Hard. At 460, we have Gossamer's Vault Hard and AQ coming back, replacing AAHM, which, thank fucking God, it's been in the game way too long in my opinion, and RK9 Hard. For the 455s, we have Ruinous Manor normal, Gossamer's Vault, and Thal Metal Refinery Hard. Thal Metal Refinery Hard is the gold dungeon, similar to Ravenous Gorge, and similar to our current patch RK. These are replacing LKH, Red Refuge Hard, and RK9. And then we have Kilvian's Dreadnought, Thal Metal Refinery, and RG staying in the game at a 448, replacing Loyalist Keep and Red Refuge. So we still have 2 gold dungeons. Thal Metal Refinery Hard, like I said, is either going to be walk-in easy gold, or it's going to be instance match like RG. Kind of not sure what they're going to decide to fully do about that. I don't really hate this lineup, but I kind of wish they added a bit more. I've talked to a few people, and some people think that it's a good amount of dungeons, but I would like to see maybe one more 465 at this point. I'd like to hopefully within 4 months see a 474. I feel like we need to keep pushing a level of difficulty that the game doesn't have. I am worried about Cursed AA. I'm going to be honest that Bahar had its crit reduced, and I'll let y'all know I've already DM'd the devs saying, hey, are you considering reducing the crit resist factor of Cursed AA, because classes like Slayer, Ninja, Zerks are going to have a major issue in here. You know, the classes that have to build so much crit, it's going to be like, you know, Corrupted Skyness and Bahar when Bahar came back all over again. So hopefully they get back to me on that, because this didn't get changed before it was removed. RMHM, I personally do love this dungeon. I'm just worried that Velik's Sanctuary right now is a pretty quick dungeon for speedruns. I know for some people it is challenging, so I hope RM does have that challenge factor, but at the same point I hope it's not just a go and slaughter it fest. I'd like to actually see this dungeon one-shot people, being that it's a 465. There was a time people went in and feared Lackalith, that, you know, if you got hit by her lasers, you were dead. If you got hit by Backtail, you were dead. I hope in some way that concept is brought back, and that we slowly move back into making some of these more top tier dungeons harder. We'll see. We won't know until it's actually here, and I'll try to post a video, of course, about it. They have improved the dungeon rewards. A lot of people have been still saying it's been too hard to get their enchants, so they've added more ectoplasm. Again, that will be increased in dungeons that drop it, as well as they're increasing the jewels drop rate. So a lot of people I know have been complaining about they can't get enough diamonds. Hopefully this now will help you get your diamonds and ecto to be able to do your enchants. And, you know, the reward list is being reorganized like usual. Everything that probably drops in Bahar will drop in CAA. Everything that drops in VS will drop in RM. You can follow the pattern. That's what they did the last patch. Again, these dungeons did just kind of come in, so it's kind of sad to see them removed so quickly. But at the same point, I do like a quick turnaround on dungeons. I know it's rough for people learning, but I think it keeps the game healthy, and if they keep these dungeons in for 3 months at a time and rotate, that's cool. Again, I have a concept that I want to present when I do a future video, what Tera Needs at the end of 2023. That'll be coming out towards the beginning of August, and I have a interesting idea to present the devs to go over how maybe we can make both parties happy, but more into that in the future. So you'll see here that we're getting a system overlay. The overlay equipment system will be added for the inventory UI overlay equip slot at the bottom of style equip slot. So for those that are wondering, what does this mean? This is something that I personally messaged the devs a bit about on Facebook, and I was like, hey, this is something I think should be added that most MMOs have. And it's the fact that personally, when they updated fashion enchant items like the fire halo and so forth, and you know, you started seeing everyone with the fire halo, and you had to wear this fire halo instead of anything else to get the stat. Well, basically we're gonna have 2 slots now. You're gonna have a stat slot that gives you the style stat, and then you'll have a second slot that'll actually be your appearance. And I'm really glad that they've added this and done such a quick turnaround on this, since at least I DM'd them about it. Because if this didn't happen, again, not that cosmetics is end of the world and end game, everyone would start looking the same, right? Like every Zerk and Valk would start running the Valk helmet and only wear the Valk helmet, and everyone who wants cooldown reduction would only wear the fire halo. And that just kind of makes the game look bleh when you see everyone wearing the same stuff. It takes away that cool costume creativity. Again, coming from someone who's not really into fashion, I think this is something that they needed. Again, I'm not the biggest fashion person in the world, but I was very, very adamant on this because I felt like a lot of people would eventually get annoyed by not being able to wear their fashion in the game. So that's all that is that we can equip 2 fashion items now. One that will be shown as actual fashion, and one that will be shown as actual you will get your stats from. So they're also doing an inventory list display format, and that's, you'll be able to list display, like 2 list displayed formats will be added. A simplified, where the icons and item names have been reduced in size, So I'm guessing inside our inventory, you'll just see a very small image and the item name, or you can do icons and you can check more items by displaying only the icon without displaying the item name. You'll be able to change this options in the menu through option play. Again, once this gets implemented, I think ideally what this is that you'll see a tiny image with the name, so you can just see more at once on your screen, or you'll see just the image and no name and multiple images. Not like this is a nice addition to the game, but nothing crazy. But I do like that they are working on the UI, and I think this is a nice quick throw. Excuse me, something they could throw into the game. Alright, class balances. This is actually really important. Slayer has been dying. Slayer needed love, and I'm so happy to see Slayer getting the love it deserves. I hope this is enough to make Slayer mains want to come back, check out the game, check out their class, and hopefully make the DPS of this class viable, because I do think Slayer is one of the last classes that needs a DPS increase to make all DPSs very close to balance, which hopefully means we'll get new content that changes all classes soon. But again, more on that in the future. Whirlwind, they've increased the skill damage by 15% and they've increased the casting speed of the skill. Distant Blade, they've increased the skill damage by 15%. Overhand Strike and Ultimate Overhand Strike, they've increased the skill damage to 15%. They've also increased the skill count from 2 to 3. Measured Slice, they've increased the skill damage by 15%. Punishing Blows has had a 15% increase. Overpower has been removed, but don't worry, you're not losing Overpower. What they are doing is taking this Overpower original buff and putting it onto Savage Strike. So when you are using Savage Strike, the effect of Overpower will now be added. So basically, instead of having to use Overpowered and Savage Strike, you only have to use Savage Strike. This is really nice that they are not only giving the class a DPS increase, but they're playing with how the class plays. So basically, if you know the effect of Overpower, for those that don't, when Heat Thrust, Whirlwind, Knockdown Strike, or Stunning Backhand skills, casting speed increased by 12% and damage increased by 20%. That's just your Overpowered Strike now on Savage Strike. For ICB, when you are using ICB, the effect of Swift Link passive will be added. Linkage passive, I apologize. And the Swift Linkage passage has now been increased to from 4 to 6 stacks, so that is a small damage increase as well. And the stack is accumulated now and always active as a passive. From how it was explained to me, and Slayer mains, let me know if I got this wrong, but I believe that not only is Swift Linkage going to be a constant passive and always active, once you get your 6 counts, you don't lose those 6 counts. So the way it used to be is you would count up to 4 and then use a more powerful attack and it would, consume your stacks. Now once you get up to 6 stacks, you just keep refreshing those 6 stacks, kind of like a power link on other classes. If that is true, then I think Slayer is going to finally be in a overall good spot. I don't think the class is going to be overpowered. I don't think it's going to be hitting as hard as like Reapers were a few patches ago, but it's not going to be at the bottom of the game anymore. It's going to be, more equalized, which is what's needed. Reapers, believe it or not, you're getting, I guess, a buff, one could say. It's not as much as a buff as a revert to an old change that happened. A while back, Reaper's Grim Strike's Glyph of Energy was decreased from 25 to 5% cooldown. They are now giving you your 25% cooldown back. So that's pretty nice that Grim Strike is getting an additional 20% cooldown. Again, I won't call this a crazy buff, as it's just a revert to a nerf that happened a few patches ago. For feats, the achievements according to dungeon regularization will now be turned on or off. World events, you can now acquire more points within every world event. What they're doing is, for the Guardian Legions, the boss's HP of the superior Guardian missions will be increased by 50%, and all other mission bosses will have an increase of 100%. So these bosses won't die as quick, allowing you to obtain, more points. They've also changed bounty hunters so that the HP of all these bosses are also getting increased by 50%. I don't know what they mean by you could play bounty hunters more frequently, other than that maybe there's just going to be more missions up at one time. That's the only thing I can think of. Again, when this patch actually drops in game, I'll make a follow-up video going over what do they mean about that, if I can figure it out. Enchantment. This kind of goes with before earlier, how I said it's nice that they're making, again, Ecto and Diamonds increase more, because people have been having a huge difficult getting from, through Heroic Oath. Basically, they're making it easier to upgrade your Stormcry and Heroic Oath. They're decreasing the overall enchantment cost. Whether if this is gold or materials or both, this combined with, again, getting resource increase should make Heroic Oath more friendly for everyone, which again I think is very much needed, as Heroic Oath is not max gear anymore, and I'm glad that the devs are balancing this. Within this, I hate to say this to players, but Kaya's gear should be getting bumped down a tier. We should be getting something hopefully new very soon, as people are getting pushed into Kaya's. But again, more into that later. The enhancement advantage when you fail an equipment enchanting or upgrade will also be greatly increased. What this means is, when you fail an enchant, you get more XP. It's not going to be just that dog shit 0.01. No, hopefully it's a percent or a few percentages. Again, much needed. And the maximum item XP value has been reduced, but the actual, XP is increased. And what I mean by that is you'll need less item XP, but they're giving you more percentage on your enchant from how I read it. Now again, that could be slightly wrong. When we get into the game, well, when this gets into the game, I'll check out my archer, because I've been looking at technically wanting to potentially enchant some of its gear, and I have a rough idea of what its numbers are. We can check that out. A big change that I'm really glad to see that they are adding is we can dismantle etching 5s. And when you dismantle an etching 5, you now get 2 incomplete etching scrolls, whereas when you dismantle an etching 4, you get 1 incomplete etching scrolls. So basically you could combine these etching scrolls, and you'll now be able to, any of those shit T5s you get, like a threatening T5, you could dismantle and gives you double what getting a threat 4. I'm really happy to see this. This is a good quality of life change and a very quick turnaround to something that they should have done in the first place. So again, as much as I would like to have seen that when etching 5s dropped, I'm glad to see that within about a month or two that they actually implemented that. The last two things is the quest tickets that we were given. They give the gold, they've reducing the amount of Valkyrie Federation coins you'll need. Basically, they're cutting all of them at half. This was said, I think, in a maintenance or an update a while back that they were going to do, but they apparently just haven't done it, and they're going to do it with this update. So I'm glad to see that this is getting changed. There was a lot of issues with people having struggles with this. I would also like to see in the future maybe ways to obtain more of these quests, possibly through dungeons would be kind of cool, other than just buying them from the specialty merchant. It would be nice to see maybe like Cursed AA can drop Federation 2 or 3 quests, and that would be kind of cool to see. Because right now, limiting it to 2, I'll be curious to see if this update refreshes it, because if not, well, mine are used up, GG. But if they're used up, no big deal. I just think it would be nice to see more content being added, even if it's small stuff. And then the last thing is bug fixes. They fixed the polling of the Fangs quest line. It wasn't able to be cleared. Now you can clear this quest line. So that's everything in today's patch notes. If you got any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments section. There's a few things I've been hinting at, and the big thing I want to suggest right now is that I am working on a pretty hefty document that I want to release, so stay tuned to that. Like I said, probably the beginning of August, my plan is to release it. It's kind of an extension. If you've seen my video, what does Tera Console need in 2023? A lot of people have asked me that they really want to see a revised list, and I've been spending a lot of time on thinking, what does this game need even more? And y'all have been answering my polls. You've been seeing them on Twitter. If you haven't, go check out my Twitter. It's just at TSTerra2 on Twitter. Please answer the polls. I'll cover some of that stuff in the new document in that video. And I really want to try and present it to the devs and really try to push Tera to be something magical before 2024 drops. Because, yeah, there's some games coming out. Tera's got to step up its work, guys, so this is a good start. Again, your patches are going well, but we need to start seeing more actual content soon, hopefully. So, like I said, that's about it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you got any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. And if you're not subscribed, do you mind hitting the sub button if this is like your 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 10th video or whatever? I really greatly appreciate it, as I am trying to push to 500 subscribers for Tera, and I'll do a war tank guide if we hit there. So that's about it. I hope to see you in Aboria, gamers.